What's going on, guys? I'm Keegan here from Punisher's Paintball. I'm here with media guy Doug, as well as Nick from Level Up. He plays for their, you're on their D3 line now, right?
Four.
Oh, I
still D4.
Sorry.
And hold on, Nick played World Cup with us for
He did.
Punishers.
He did. That was it was a blast. Played
Fun.
both D4 xball and
10-man.
10-man. That was a lot of fun.
10-man.
Today we're doing a video of all the markers above $500
that are available.
Yes, that are available in 2020. Not necessarily the ones that drop, so it's not just going to be like the LV 1.6, the Geo, and the Amp. It's going to be any gun above $500 that is currently available from factory new in 2020. So we're going to turn it into a Punisher's Picks. We're all going to kind of get our say and kind of go over some main points of each gun. So
the way we're going to pick which one we want, we're going to do best for bang for the buck. We each get to pick one that's bang for the buck, and then one that if money didn't matter, which one would we pick?
Yes.
So we're each going to get 2 picks for this Punisher's Picks video. If you guys like this one, be sure to subscribe, drop a comment, let us know which gun you would have picked, and we'll catch you after the intro.
alright guys, so starting off, the way we're going to do this video is we've got them kind of sorted on lowest price up to the highest price being the M3 Plus. And we're going to start at the lower end and kind of say just the main selling points of the specific gun that we're talking about. So Nick, you probably know the most about the DSR, so why don't you go ahead and start with that one?
Yeah, so the DSR, I mean, it's a workhorse, right? It's designed to just work. My favorite thing about it is probably the ergonomics. It's got more of like a 3.5S, like if I was supposed to make a compact gun, kind of like a Geo 3.5. I love that aspect to it. You can upgrade them. You can get flex bolt, flex can, and I think you can get a lockdown feed neck, which is going to be a little bit more robust than the stock one. But as they come out of the box, stock, fantastic gun, super efficient, super easy to work on. They just work.
Mm-hmm. Yep. If I had to pick, so I'm not necessarily a die guy. I did shoot a Rise for a little bit, and that one did work for me, but from being out of field, it does shoot a lot of die. I see these things a lot. This actually would be my pick if I had to shoot die. I like the way they feel. The UL frame is nice. The trigger is actually pretty sweet. It's really narrow, really slender. I actually really appreciate it. I like how it is. I guess I'm going to start throwing in some knocks here, you know, some opinionated points, but I feel like I see die guns go down a bit. That's just. Unfortunately, Nick, I'm sorry. I'm a non-believer.
Full disclosure, you play at a die field.
I do. That's
what we do.
If anybody's going to see it happen more often, it's going to be us. You know, we just have more die guns available. So I will say that just about the brand. But I mean, like I said, if I had to shoot a die gun, it would be a DSR. They're comfy in the hands, and I like that they don't cost $1,500.
It's a neat feature.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really much else for me to add to it. It's a good gun for the price point. However, I'm personally not a big fan of die, and I'd rather shoot something else in that price range.
That's fair. So,
let's see. You want to take the 170 or the Amp?
Oh, I'll take the Amp.
You take the Amp? Alright, I'll take the 170. 170, Gamma Core, super reliable. I mean, it's in, what, 5, 6 guns. You got the EMAC, the Etha, the 170. CS2 Pro, I mean, if you count them as different things, technically they are.
Stealth.
Stealth, yeah, right. 160, the original G-Tech. So they're in, I mean, nearly like 7, 8 guns.
That's the thing, if they've released that many editions of different guns with the same bolt, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, so reliable, well maintained, and just a workhorse.
Yes.
A budget option. So you're not quite getting the Gamma Core that's in like the CS2, and you're not getting all the features as the CS2. However, for only being $800, you really can't go wrong with it.
No, it's Keegan, I'm with you on that. At that point, for me, it just comes down to feel and how it feels in your hands, which I don't think it feels bad. The back grip for me is a little big. I don't have the biggest hands in the world, but I mean, it still is a nice feeling gun. It's very sturdy. It's going to shoot well. I mean, I used to think of it for back at the beginning when the CS2s had come out, at least for a bit, there was an issue with them like bricking if you dove into water because like something was like a sealing issue or whatever. So
yeah, the frames didn't seal.
Right. So once they dropped this, I was like, well, if it's the same bolt, why wouldn't you buy this and have a gun that's not going to brick when it gets wet? So for a long time, obviously they fixed that, but for a long time, this would have been my go-to if I bought PE.
Yeah.
So Nick, I'd love to hear what you think about them.
Yeah, I mean, to kind of add on that, I'm gonna side with you, Doug. I hate just this part.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't know why.
Much.
Big.
I just don't like it. This part though, this front grip, fantastic.
Yeah.
Like that. I think if I could take this, put it onto a CS2, I would probably shoot a CS2. But we'll get to that in a little bit. I think the Gamma core is as robust when you talk about workhorse, right? We just touched on the DSR.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably more so of a workhorse if you want to really split hairs and get down into the nitty gritty of like tenths of a percentage in terms of what's going to be more reliable. I mean, this thing's.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets more reliable, quite frankly.
Yeah.
They've been proven. I would like to clarify there is a difference between the Gamma core that is in the 170s and the ones that are in the CS2s. The CS2s, you have the Gamma Pro bolt. It just has a little bit of a bigger
This is the chamber.
And so the operating pressure is going to be a little bit lower. However, other than the CS2, every Gamma core that has been put out, to my knowledge, is the same.
Yes.
Other than maybe the EMEC, I think.
Okay. Thank you for calling that out.
Yeah.
It's good to know. Someone's going to call it out in the comments.
Just something that's good to know before going into it. It's not necessarily the exact same, but it's
Same idea.
considered the same bolt.
So then getting into our next marker here, we have the Shocker amp just dropped in October, I believe. No, early November. So the amp just came out this year in 2020. Similar to the XLS, but obviously the bolt we're moving differently. It's a turn knob to get it out. Then obviously like they changed like the trigger guard, a bunch of different things. They generally just made it narrower as opposed to the XLS, but I think this thing's extremely comfortable in my hands. I think Keegan, you might have said it's a little bit too small, too thin for you.
Yeah.
But honestly, the way this thing feels to shoot is so similar to the XLS, but still so different. It's so much smoother, and for the price, man, I love it.
The one thing I will say, Doug touched on the bolt release being different. It's an entirely new bolt.
Yeah.
The entire bolt is
course.
different, and it operates completely different. So the one thing that I'll say that's probably the biggest downside to an amp at this moment is the fact that it's so new and the bolt system is new. It hasn't necessarily been tested out in other people's hands. Obviously, it's been tested and it's been in pros' hands for, I believe they said, a year and a half. It's been in pro hands. Obviously, it was in an XLS frame, so you couldn't tell, but the actual bolt system has been out for quite some time now. So that's probably the biggest downside, but it feels great. It feels like an XLS just with a bit of a smaller trigger guard frame. And other than that, it's your good old smart part shocker.
Have you gotten to shoot one, Nick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the first thing that jumps out to me
We did before you.
Sensei. First thing that jumps out at me when I pick up the gun, it's like so light that it feels almost like it's, I don't know, like not a paintball gun, right? I mean, it's like that light, which is fantastic. So I'm not knocking it because it's light. I think that's great. So that opens up the door for smaller players, kids.
Colton.
Colton actually shoots one. You guys did the efficiency test. That was
a shocker.
That's probably the biggest selling point on them is the efficiency. I mean, we got 12 pods on a 68.
And it was still one balling.
Yes. Yeah, you could still one ball your way out of some trouble.
So I mean,
impressive.
Yeah, super impressive. I like the slender aspect to it as far as the rear grip's concerned. The front grip, I think is like really thin.
It is really thin. However, there is a fix for that. You can put on the XLS grip onto it, which is probably about 3 to 4 times as thick as the grip that they come with.
Okay.
So you can make it thicker if you want to.
Yep.
Okay.
I think we should also definitely touch on, again, another feature I forgot with this thing. Almost toolless disassembly. One screw and the whole thing comes apart. So
that's pretty cool.
No eye wires going through anymore.
It's just this screw.
Yep. Then it just comes apart like a hinge.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So
while it is $100 more than the 170, for some of the features that you get on it.
Yeah. You also have the fact that, well, actually both of them are going to have a mech frame.
Yes.
The CC frame for the shocker, classic conversion frame. and then you just have the mech frame for the 170. For the amp, they actually made it so that the solenoid is modular. It just has a clip, and then you can take it out for swapping frames, which is nice. AMP stands for Advanced Modular Platform, if you did not already know.
I love that thing.
And I think one thing we've kind of skipped over is paint handling, right? And I guess we maybe want to back up just for a second in terms of what we all value. For me, if it points good, probably gonna like it. If it feels good in my hands, that's a plus.
Yeah.
And then, is it reliable, right? Is this thing gonna actually shoot a paintball, or is it gonna brick on me because I dove in a puddle, right?
Yeah.
And I think so far, all three of these guns, reliability, pretty darn high. I don't think it really gets a whole lot higher. You could really start splitting hairs there. Paint handling, though, the one thing that really got me with the amp, you guys went to the factory, you had that video. I'm blanking on the gentleman's name that
Russell.
That was Russell.
So
He
Russell
held a paintball in the breach and just shot it.
Yeah, like 100 times, which blows my mind, right? You look at paint handling, and you can say, okay, it's field paint, what have you. I don't know if I could take a paintball, cycle it 100 times in any gun, regardless of the grade of paint, and have it not just explode.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a testament to the paint handling of the amp. I think that's something that we should call out because we all know tournament paint is tournament paint, right? And contingent upon if the reefer truck stays on all night or not, it's going to dictate how your morning's going to go.
Yes.
Definitely.
So next up, taking a total price departure from the Shocker amp, we are going to come on with the Geo4. So jumping from $900 to about $1,200, and the Geo4 features the ever famous IV core. People love it for the super soft shot that it produces, and also there is the flow restrictor, right? The FSR, what's it called?
Solenoid flow restrictor.
This SFR, the solenoid flow restrictor, which just allows you to further tune and soften your shot. I have never personally used one of these in a game. I shot it a little bit here at the shop, and it's really soft. I feel like that plus the weight of the gun is probably what helps keep it so smooth as you're shooting. But I have yet to have anything bad to say about it other than the weight. So I'm going to pass this off to Keegan. He's been around him a little bit more than I have, and he's a Planet Eclipse guy. So
I have. So the Geo4, I mean, it's really just an updated version of the CS1.
yeah, you can see the front grip and the trigger frame are the same.
Front grips are the same, and then the rear grip is actually the CS2 grip. Other than that, they threw the FL barrel system on it, and just kind of changed a few other things like the feed neck, updated the milling, and just updated firmware, stuff like that, ASA, etc. The gun shoots phenomenally. They're really soft. Joel's mad because I told him they shoot better than his 2.0 box, and so he's still mad at me for that.
Honestly,
but I don't really care because that's what I believe.
I think these things are just an amalgamation of all the best things that Planet Eclipse has done.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job on it. I mean, the 3.5. People still
pay a lot for
wanting the 3.5s to shoot them in tournaments because they're good guns, and the IV core is good, and you can't really say that the IV core is a bad bolt system. It's very reliable, especially with the new change that they made with the soft tip bolt.
The inset soft tip bolt, so it won't wither away. And what was it? It was like sticking in guns because it would get
it was sticking and it could come off, and there's all sorts of stuff with it. But they now updated that, so.
Yeah, so I like what you said, Doug. I agree with you. It's like an what'd you say?
Amalgamation. Yes.
College word. Combination of all the cool shit from the other guns into one. This is it. Geo4. So you got the spacing of a 3.5, right? You got your CS2 rear grip, CS1 front grip.
Yep.
You got your low rise feed neck. You have some CS 1.5-esque milling. If you're someone that likes to look down the back of a gun and you like that about the 1.5, you have that here. So that's great.
Yeah.
The IV core. Historically, I've had a terrible time with it. Subsequently, this is my gun, so I'm just gonna talk shit about it.
He just bought this, so.
Yeah, my first experience with an IV core in a tournament was MSXL Ohio in 2018. I used a CSR and a CS 1.5. It was a paint issue, wasn't the gun. However, I was not happy.
But look, he's ready to try it again.
But I'm back, right? And I came back because this is what I say earlier. This is like your B+ student across the board.
Yeah, it's just
every
consistent.
subject.
It always
just
works.
good at everything.
Yeah.
It's not great at anything in particular, but it's good at everything. So yeah, I love this thing. I think it's a great gun. I'm excited to use it.
He's gonna kill some people with it, I think.
And it's really heavy.
Yes, I think that's really the only draw for me is that it is heavier.
I don't know what you're.
It's honestly not like the heaviest gun. I mean, you have something like the M3
Like
Plus that's it's literally just
Cannon
a brick. It is
What,
a
that?
brick, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
And they're just
Heavier.
huge, they're thick. We'll get to that one later, but for what the Geo4 is, it's great. The IV core is actually a lot thicker than like the Gamma core, so the Gamma core or the CS2 is going to be a lot thinner, and so you're kind of adding some weight because of that, but
No big deal.
Yeah,
It's worth it
it's-
for what you're getting. So
yeah.
we'll put this bad boy away. Keegan, who is our next bad boy?
One of my personal favorites, we have the LV 1.6. This was one of the new guns that Planet put out this year. So far, what we've heard from people concerning the LV 1.6 is A, people either want it, or B, people don't want it because they think it's the exact same gun, that they didn't change anything, that there wasn't significant changes to make it a different gun. So why would they spend the money to get a new one rather than getting one of the older ones like a 1.5? The main change that they made with the 1.6 is the fact that they made it so that the solenoid is now rebuildable. So you're not going to, and I actually just had to do this literally like 4 days ago, was put a new solenoid into my LV1 with 13,000 shots because the solenoid went bad and I couldn't replace it. So that was an additional $160 for a solenoid to replace so that my gun would work, period. It would not cycle or anything. So
Now, as far as other major changes, were there, like honestly, were there any?
to my knowledge, not really.
So
I mean, they low-rise feed neck
yeah. So like when I've owned this gun,
he did. I shot
as
him.
What you
well as
learn?
every other one except
I've
for
owned
an
a
amp.
lot of guns. I actually play with all of them before I inevitably dump them. Don't worry, that's stay. But yeah, when we look at the 1.6, the dials for what we believe to be called the cam
Just
system,
like the cam
SFR
lever system
dials.
inside of it.
Yeah, we
If you
can't
open the
really,
grip, you'll see them.
yeah, we can't really figure out what
they're
they're
called.
actually called. But if you've ever had a 1.6, you know what we're talking about. Or
Yeah,
an
I mean,
LV.
when you open it
LV.
up, that's how you can adjust really how the gun feels and how it shoots, right?
It's just the rammer speed. Right?
Yeah, right. So it's your forward stroke and your rear stroke. The tolerances, or the range rather, that you can adjust that on the 1.6 solenoid is just different, in my opinion. I've owned a 1.1, I've owned all of them, one all the way through. They're just, it's different. You can't take it to the extreme, and I think that's by design, right? You look at what PE's done, they've made guns that are reliable. That's a step in that direction, but you still have the ability to tune it with a heavy rammer, with a light rammer, whatever you want to get that desired shot.
Still got the LPR too. So
So
if you want a modern day gun that is still available,
A pop-it.
new, in general, pop-it, spool, whatever, if you want something that you can really tune and mess with that is still available on the market, the 1.6 is probably your way to go.
agree, and I love that it's the most recently released pop-it gun that is good, that is reliable. Like, I feel like for a lot of people, I don't see practicality with the pop-it guns because
Oh, lob shot, dude.
Well, sure,
shot. Start that
but
debate
you're
in the comments.
also
Lob
kind of you're also kind of at the mercy of whatever the weather is that day. Like, your bolt is open, things can get into your breech. Like, for me, that's a variable that I prefer to not have to deal with. So,
Since you said that, I've honestly never had problems. I've played in terrible weather with two of my LVs and had absolutely no issues. I played in the mud, I played in the rain, I played in the snow with it last year. So I've played in all sorts of different conditions with the open bolt system, and I have had no issues with it.
I will say, to justify, why would I buy this when I could buy an LV 1.1, used for however much? I think it's longevity. The fact that you can actually replace and service the solenoid. Sure, you can buy that 1.1 or whatever, but eventually you're not gonna be able to buy probably solenoids for that. Whereas this, you can keep it going and have it for longer.
And you have the fact that when you buy a used LV, you're not really sure where the solenoid's at in terms of life expectancy, and so it can go bad real quick. But moving on, I know Joel's not here. He had to go take care of the kids, be an adult, I guess. But one of Joel's favorite guns recently is the Prime XTS. This marker, I actually owned one as well. I got rid of it because the grips were too big for me, and I couldn't hold. It's the only gun that I've ever taken a core sample with, actually. Because I couldn't hold on to it because I got baby hands.
Yeah, you got manlets?
Yeah.
I got manlets too, man. It's cool.
The gun is loud and is very poppy for a spool valve. However, it does shoot consistently and it shoots well. It handles paint, and Joel will be the one to say that it is one of the straightest shooting guns that he has shot. Now, personally, I think that that's kind of more towards the barrel and boring, but he did not use.
Did he use straight or flat?
What do you mean?
I know it's like trajectory. I
Trajectory.
think he meant flat.
Did he mean flat?
I think he meant like a very
I
flat
shot a
trajectory.
clone 5S, and then I shot the Prime, the first iteration of the Prime. But at any rate, they all have that like, we'll call it flat.
Super flat.
We're talking about
trajectory.
lobs on this one. We're gonna talk about flat shots on that one. I noticed it. I don't know if it's optical illusion and I need my eyes checked, which very well could be. They're not great, but it's one thing that stood. It's one thing that stood out to me is the flatness of that shot.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, it does have a very quick bolt, right?
It
so it
is.
kind of has like a pop to it, which I like because it gives that little bit of feedback.
I actually like that too.
And I think I like the size of that gun.
This would fit you well.
I like the size of the gun, and you can move the front grip, which is really
You can.
cool.
You can angle this a couple of different ways. I'm not sure how many points adjustable it is, but
Two.
you can.
Two.
Okay, so it's here or it's angled out or
Yeah.
whatever. Actually, I think
For
this
an
is the
8
angled
degree
angle.
angle.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, we've actually had quite a few of these come through the shop, and so I actually feel bad for MacDev because I feel like this is finally something they've released that I haven't seen people super complain about, like the reliability with it. So obviously,
there
like,
haven't really been any main complaints. That
Yeah,
I've
no.
seen.
No,
So-
I shot. Sorry to cut you off. I shot Joel's in Cincinnati,
Mhm.
and the one thing that kind of steered me away from this initially was the loud. I don't want to say loud. It's not loud. It's like sound signature
Mhm.
that it has with that stock barrel. I'm just not a fan of it.
Mhm.
But I threw on my boomstick, and I was like, oh.
sounded a lot more attractive.
Yeah,
right?
it changes it, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally.
And I think if you could maybe change that, this is a super desirable gun, man. I mean, it's built to just work.
That's
Like
what I'm
a
saying.
lot
I
of
feel
work.
bad for MacDev because they have a bad rep right now, but I think if these things if they stay up with their QC and continue to like let these things go and keep selling them, and they continue to be workhorses,
Mhm.
I think MacDev could actually end up coming back as a good. What am I thinking? A good like manufacturing
Yeah.
brand. So how much do these go for new?
So they go for $1,400, so about $100 more than the LV 1.6,
Okay.
which is kind of a good price range. The one thing that I would like to say before we put this down, they did something that no one else did: magnetic eye covers. Real kind of well thought out and well designed aspect to the marker. So that's the one thing that I would note about it being kind of something that stands out above other markers.
Didn't the Luxe X, aren't those magnetic as well?
No,
Or
they
magnetic
have,
and clip.
they have a clip on them. Yeah.
The screen on that's also really cool. It's
It is.
full
Color.
color. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
super vibrant, right? You're not like staring at it in the sun. Like, what's it say? Right? Like, oh, you know.
RSX.
It's nice.
Jeez.
That had
Yeah.
terrible screens.
So what's up next, Keeks?
Next up, this is actually my personal CS2 Pro, the best gun ever to be released. I love it. I used it for nearly the entire season. I, of course, had to wait for it to come in when I finally decided to pull the trigger and get one. It was always the gun that I had in my hands at the shop, so finally I was like, all right, I'm just going to get one. And I probably will never sell this thing. I've put, let's see, I've put 42,000 shots on it, so not terrible, but not minimal amounts.
You're starting to break it in.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it. Super reliable, but the most reliable gun that I've had. I haven't had a trigger fall out of this one. It's got the Gamma Pro bolt system. Just an all-around solid, very good marker. My personal favorite, of course, it's my gun. To kind of speak on the reliability of them, originally the CS2 did have problems with the frame not sealing. However, the CS2 Pro does not have those issues, and the later models of the original CS2 did not either.
Punisher
But-
definitely listen to their consumer base on that.
Yeah, it sounds really bad, but we played an event in Tennessee. I played that entire event, 2 divisions, D4 and D5. Didn't clean my gun after either one. Then proceeded to play probably like 6-7 practices without cleaning my gun. Definitely should have. As a gun tech, I should know better. But then turned around, threw it in my bag, got on a plane to go to Florida for World Cup and played World Cup. And the entire time I used it, I never had a single gun issue on the field, off the field, no leaks, never shooting hot, anything like that, no bolt stick. So they're reliable.
Is that what you're trying to say? Is that all?
Yes. Yes.
I have played 1 point with a CS2. My gun went down when we were in Tennessee. I grabbed our other teammate Ben's CS2, which is about the same colors as this one as well.
Exact same.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They point really nice. I had a very successful point. I definitely like the shot on it. I'm not used to it. Would I be opposed to owning one? Not at all. And I'm glad that they fixed the issue with its sealing. Mm-hmm. It may not necessarily be for me, but I think they are actually also a great option for how much?
$1,550.
CS2 Pro.
This is a Pro, right?
Yeah, for the CS2 Pro. Of course, since my personal one, we didn't have any others in the shop. I've got the tan drips on it, which is aftermarket, as well as the Silencio barrel tip. Mm-hmm. It does come with a full FL barrel kit rather than like the LV 1.6 and the GO4 only come with 1.89 insert, I believe. What's this say on it?
Yep.
Yeah,
8.9.
So you get a lot with it. Has classic planet, nice case, and overall they milled it down to be the most minimalistic thing that they could. They took all the milling design out of it and just said, we're going bare bones, and I love it.
So what do you think, Nick?
How do you reset the shot count?
Hold up!
So, thumbs up. Make out of here alive. But yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying. You know, I like that it's milled down. It's just easy to point. Right?
Yeah,
it's milled down. It's just easy to point.
It does point well.
I mean, points well, you're probably going to hit what you're aiming at, unless the paint's bad. But it's light, it's simple, the spacing's good. Me personally, I don't like that this is like oval shaped. That's just not the shape that I prefer.
He likes it more squared off.
Yeah, more squared off.
I would let you know what? There's something we kind of missed, and I'm going to bring it up now.
Okay.
As far as the guns we talked about so far, I believe only 2 of them, 2.5, do not have toolless battery change. This guy, you need a coin or something to turn the dial on the bottom.
Yeah.
This guy needs three Allen screws here, and then the Prime, I believe there's 2 screws on those grips.
Yes.
You gotta take those.
Walk that a hair farther. Battery type.
1.6 as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Also not toolless, and battery type as well. So what is it? Double A's?
Double A's.
Right, and is it double A's as well for the 170?
Nope.
No, is that a 9 volt?
9 volt, DSR, 9 volt,
9 volt.
amp, 9 volt, GO4, double A's, LV 1.6,
9 volt.
9 volt, XTS, 9 volt, Luxe, nothing.
Rechargeable.
M3, nothing.
Rechargeable. And then this guy, obviously, double A's. So
yeah, double A's.
always want to bring that up because I think that's actually a big thing with like, you know, is it worth the price point kind of thing? Like, can you just change the batteries without having to unscrew a bunch of stuff? That can really be a selling point for a lot of people. That can really be a make or break kind of item. But that's the CS2 Pro. Next up, we're gonna hit the Luxe X here. This is the Urban Camo Edition we have. This is brand new in the shop.
Boom.
I actually think this is gorgeous. I love this thing.
It is. It's a nice anno.
It is a nice anno. So
Let's you, Doug.
Yeah.
Just don't touch it.
Yeah. So let's talk about the X. So when these things came out, there was definitely an issue with some QC. There was a lot of just phantom issues. I have friends who are techs who said, you know, they would get one in the tent, be leaking in 3 different places, and they would rebuild O-rings, rebuild this, that, and the other, still leaking, take parts from random other X's that were around, throw them in, and suddenly it stopped. So I believe now that it's been out for about a year, a little longer actually, but now that it's been out, those problems are probably virtually gone. Like it's a fine gun. They're fine, but again, kind of like with MacDev, you ruin your reputation when you release something before it's ready, and you have QC issues like that. So that for me, I feel bad for them, I'll say. So having shot these guns at the shop, it's pretty poppy because obviously they changed from the completely traditional, like the Luxe Bolt as to what it was, to the X Core, right? That's what it's called. So I don't know, it's more poppy, kind of like a shocker, honestly. It does feel, it's like a Cadillac shocker kind of feel. But
yeah,
what I do like about the X is the totally toolless removal from the frame to the body. And what was it, with the battery, it's like twice as long or like 5 times as long lasting. Yeah, so the battery life on these things is great. I don't know, man. It's a Luxe. It's a big boy gun. It's definitely a longer hold. They're comfortable to hold, but I think I've said about all I can say. I'm gonna pass this thing off to Keegan.
Now that I got my hands on the Alien Blaster. That's what they look like to me. It's definitely, like Doug said, Cadillac. If you guys didn't know, which you should, DLX and Shocker are kind of sister companies.
They're in the same factory, folks.
Yes, they are in the same factory, and we got to tour their factory. And the Luxe is more of a Cadillac, more of a, if you want all these additional features and stuff like that, have the gun talk to you, get voice packs, whatever.
That's the best part.
I always turn it off. Then go with the Luxe. If you want something that's bare bones from the same company, go with a Shocker because they're great. They're just minimalistic. But for the Luxe, it's a Cadillac, and it takes someone that wants a lot of features on their marker to want this type of gun.
I think one thing that we kind of glossed over is the shot style from the Ice to the X, right? You know, historically, Luxes have a very kind of like wispy shot.
Poofy and
Poofy,
soft.
I guess is a better adjective, right?
It's like a poof.
This is very poppy. They did that, it's my understanding at least, and I'm sure you guys will correct me if I'm wrong, air efficiency.
Yep.
That was they were tired of the old moniker of like, oh, Luxes, 6 pods and you're done.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to be able to get more.
This one's really air efficient. I want to try one, but I'm somewhat weary.
And that's, I don't blame you, after you have a year of issues with a gun that came out.
But they feel, I mean, it just feels really nice in the hands.
They do.
Like,
This
definitely
feels
do.
good. Whatever this is going on here, it's good. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Figure out how to make the ice more air efficient, and then I'd probably jump ship.
Yes.
Yeah. The last
Yes.
feature that I would probably say that we didn't touch on, only marker that I know of with a toolless frame disassembly.
Yeah.
You can separate the frame completely toolless. You need no Allen keys, and you can separate it. Is it something that you need to do often? Not so much, but it is nice to have that feature.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And
That'll definitely make it easier to switch into the mechanical frame when that drops in probably about the next year.
different gun.
That's true. It will be a different gun.
Last and certainly least.
Certainly not. That's all right. You're an ESL kid.
Yeah, Nick, take that one away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've owned quite a few of these.
It's even level up.
It is.
It is.
Look
That
at
is a
that.
level up specific edition.
Yeah, we have one available.
These are, I mean, these are great guns, man. They really are. They have just about anything I would think I would want in a gun. Ergonomics, you're either gonna love them or you're gonna hate them.
That's my main complaint with them. They don't fit my hands right.
I mean, you can kind of draw a parallel to firearms, right? If you're a Glock guy, you're probably not gonna like a 1911. This is kind of like your Glock of paintball.
Yeah.
With regard to how your hand sits in the gun. So, I think knowing that, you either know if you like it or you don't.
Yeah.
It will make the setup feel longer because it pulls your hand more central to the gun, which I like. Within reason, right? I'm shooting at you before.
Yep.
But, you know, I shot this for 2 seasons. Didn't really have any issues with mine. The rechargeable batteries are great. Like the Luxes, the batteries last a long time. I would like charge on a Friday night, and then I played Saturday, Sunday, since he's a good example of that.
Yeah.
I didn't charge it because
Yeah.
I probably should have, but I didn't.
They
And
can do
it was
wireless
fine.
charging too, right?
And they can, yeah, they can do wireless charging. I believe it's on this side. There's a little adapter that sits on the battery that you basically just sit it on a wireless charger. Charges overnight, charges however long you want to charge it for. They do charge fast. That's one thing that I liked about it. I live about 30 minutes from the field.
Yeah.
And in my truck, you can plug in like a wall charger. So I would plug that in, plug it into my gun. Didn't matter if it was at 20%, didn't matter if it was, you know, at 10%. It was 100% by the time I got to the field. So it charges fast. When you look at the bolt's really simple. Take it out here. All that.
Yep.
I mean, there's not a lot to it. I think there's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5 O-rings that you're gonna hit with lube. So really easy to tear down. Efficiency-wise, probably middle of the pack. Out of everything on this table, I would say just like middle of the road. Nothing stellar about it. Nothing terrible about it. But the ergonomics for me are a big selling point with that gun. And then the fact that I don't have to go buy 9 volts or
That's true.
any double A's or
Yeah,
triple A's.
definitely.
That's true. I think I was saying to Keegan the other day, I'd be scared to bump to a gun that I can't just drop a battery in, because like life happens and you will forget stuff. Like you'll forget to charge your gun before going. And luckily you can plug it in your car, right?
Mm-hmm.
But say you didn't have that in your car, kind of forgot, let it go. You get to the field and you're like, gosh, man, my gun's dead.
Yeah.
Now your gun's dead. And I'm sure that hasn't happened to you. I think it's probably happened to somebody.
I've seen it happen. Yeah.
Exactly. So I like that I wouldn't particularly run into that risk using some of the other options in this list. But I mean, look, man, like if the M3 was truly a lemon, nobody would buy it, right? So while I may not personally be a fan of like die as a platform, you can't knock them entirely. Like this trigger, really not my favorite, but I'm kind of with Nick. I actually don't mind the way that these things feel in the hands. The shot on them is okay. It's a pretty flat trajectory as well.
Yeah, I would say so.
I have actually used them a couple times. The level guys they're usually walking around like, hey, try my gun, they're gonna shoot it, test it out. Yeah, I mean, it's a die gun, man. It's die or die.
Die or die.
So when it comes to the M3 Plus for me, I've got two main complaints. I hate the front, how much space you have in between the trigger frame, because
manlets, bro.
I like to tuck my hand into
That's
it.
an LV thing.
Yeah,
I
like to tuck my hand into it,
I know what you mean.
it's not big enough and it hurts, and so I basically have to go over, or
That's what you should
hold
do.
it more like this instead of
Should go
turning
over.
in. So that's one of my complaints, and the second being the amount of times I've gotten lost in the screen trying to turn the eyes off,
Yeah.
change settings. If you haven't owned a die gun before and haven't done it 10 times, I tech these things all the time and I still don't know how to do it.
You read the manual, right? And you buy something nice.
Yeah.
You probably want to know what all the
So-
cool, nice things it does.
Keegan, you're just telling us you can't read.
No, it's like, so on the M3 you have like a omnidirectional
Joystick.
lever joystick,
I
whatever
would
that
break
you
that.
can
I want to go on record saying I would break that
You won't.
so fucking quick.
You won't, I promise.
Yeah.
You'll make it discolor, but you won't break it.
Yeah.
You might rip your grips too, but
Yeah.
you don't.
Yeah, so that's my main two complaints. They have grown on me. I used to be the person that would not own a die whatsoever unless it was a Russian Legion M3 Plus. That was the only one I was going to get, and it was going to be a wall mount. Because I wasn't going to
That's
shoot
a
it.
paperweight.
But working here, they definitely have grown on me. Still not a huge fan of the chode that you have at the end of the barrel. I like my FL.
What?
I like my FL, very slick barrel.
Just gonna slide that in there like it's nonchalant?
Yes.
Wow.
All right, so now that we're done grilling Nick on his choice of barrel,
It's the right choice.
I know that a lot of people do like them. Personally, I don't like the way they point, especially the older ones. However, you have some of the top pro teams using die M3 Pluses, so it's been proven that it's a good marker. And you can't really
argue with success,
argue
right?
with that. Yeah, and
past couple years in a row, Russian Legion was making it to getting second overall, so
yeah. So
can't be that bad.
So anyway, guys, we're going to get into our Punishers picks. We're going to start off with what we think is the best bang for our buck. The first thing I would like to point out, though, is we did make a mistake. The DSR is actually right above the 170R, coming in at 900 as well as the amp. So the 170 is the cheapest option on this list.
At about 800, right?
Yes, at 800, and the DSR fluctuates depending on color.
Yes.
So
I want to start with my budget pick. My Punisher's pick for the budget side is going to be the Shocker amp. So I do come from shooting a Shocker. I've had my XLS for about 2 years now. Love that thing. So I'm very familiar with the way these feel. And while I do think this feels better, it is still similar to the XLS. You can liken it to its predecessor. I love the way it feels. I've gotten to shoot them now a couple times. I love the shot on these things. It's super smooth, but still has that enough feedback and poppiness that it feels like a Shocker, and it lets me know that I'm shooting. So for $900, I really don't think you can go wrong, just because of how easy it is to maintain this thing. Can't pinch any wires, super easy to remove the bolt, not going to have any issues of it launching out like some of the RSXs and XLSs have had with that push button system. For $900, I really think the only complaint you could make is that it's not toolless to get into the battery like it is with the 170R, but I mean, for all the other features you get with this thing, amp for me. Keegan? Oh no, let's go to Nick.
let's go to Nick.
Yeah, go to me.
What'll it be?
What'll it be?
I think I know what your pick is going to be.
I think I do too.
Do you? What is it?
I think I'm gonna pick DSR.
You think I'm gonna pick the DSR?
I was gonna say.
Well, you're wrong.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah?
yeah.
Yeah?
I was. Yeah.
It's 'cause
Why
I
don't you pick up that DSR?
Yeah. Because it's the best gun. No, I think it's a great budget pick, right? And we already touched on how great the barrel is, so we don't need to go back to that. And we know how good the shot is. Effectively, if this and an XLS had a baby, you got the shot on this. But me personally, I like the ergonomics of the gun. I like that it's compact. It is light. I know we touched on how light the amp is.
Mm-hmm.
If you weight them out, this is going to be pretty darn close as well. They both run on 9 volts. Again, it's preference at this point.
Yes.
But I would give the DSR the nod.
Yeah. The one thing I will say on that, there actually are some of the pro guys that are sponsored by Dye that choose to shoot the DSR because it's more just raw, less techie stuff going on with getting lost in the settings and stuff. And so some of them do prefer to shoot the DSR over like the M3 Plus. So it is a great budget option.
Mm-hmm. What about for you, Keeks?
My pick, I'm actually going to stray away from any of these 3 guns, as I actually think that the best overall bang for your buck is going to be the Go4. It is a little bit of a different price gap, and I wasn't just looking for, okay, well, this is the cheapest thing, so I'm going to go with that.
Baller on a budget.
Yeah.
The Go4 is probably the highest level gun that you can get for the price point. I mean, it's only $1,200, which in reality, for like you're looking at M3 Plus, you're looking at $1,600.
Yeah.
It comes with a full actual barrel that you can get additional barrel backs and stuff for. The amp does too. However, like the 170, it doesn't. And to upgrade that barrel, you're going to need an entirely new barrel system, and you'll probably end up going to the FL barrel system. It's the most common thing to do. You have probably one of the most renowned bolt systems ever in paintball.
Yep. I wouldn't disagree with that.
It's great, got a great feel. Everyone loves it. It's been tested. There have, so far that I know about, been no issues with the gun since release. You can adjust it as much as you want with the SFR, and overall it's just a phenomenal gun. And for those reasons, it's my best
Bang for your
buck is you're getting the highest end marker you can for the price point. And I don't think that you can be beat. Like Nick said, it's a B+ student all around. It's good at everything, but it's not phenomenal at one thing.
Consistent performer.
Yeah.
So now, as far as our pick overall, money doesn't matter. We're not considering bang for your buck. All the bells and whistles you want. Let's go in reverse order. Keegan, again.
I would never do that to myself.
You said if it was free.
Well, it's free.
It doesn't matter. That's pretty free.
Yeah, so now if money does not matter to you and you just want the best absolute thing that you can get, my pick is of course going to be the CS2 Pro. I mean, I work in a paintball shop. This is what I do every day. I can choose to shoot whatever I want to shoot. And the CS2 is what I've chosen to shoot. I've shot every single one of these guns. I've played with every single one of these guns, and to me, the CS2 is my favorite. I love the shot. I love the feel. Like I said, it's the most reliable gun that I've ever had. I haven't had the barrel fall out on me like my XLS.
The trigger?
Yeah.
You had your trigger screw.
Trigger, yeah. And it's just easy to program. It's simple.
What's your pick, sir?
Yeah. Oh. Anything on the table?
Anything on the table, what would you pick?
Oh,
Oh, free.
Oh, free? So I can flip it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to take this guy.
Yeah.
No surprise there, right? But yeah, I mean, you got it, right?
Yeah.
B+ student, C's good degrees, right?
That's right.
Going with this guy.
I'm actually with Nick. This is also going to be my pick because it is, obviously money doesn't matter, but I mean, the fact that it costs less and it's a combination of all the best features that a company has to offer, I really think, while the CS2 Pro would be probably a little more efficient because the Gamma Core, I don't know, man. I like that I can tune the shot really well, and it's a spool valve gun with the SFR. I think these things are nice. So yeah, if I had $1,200 to drop, I think I'd be going with the GO4 as well. That's going to be my Punisher's pick for the non-budget option.
And for the runner-up, LV 1.6, best second runner-up gun ever made.
They are sweet. No,
They're sweet.
They are sweet.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You kind of can't go wrong with any of the
Yeah.
choices on the table here. We're here to split hairs for you so that you can, make a decision much quicker.
The one thing that I will say that makes the LV 1.6 unique is the fact that in terms of high-end that you can currently buy on the new market, it is the only poppet.
Yes,
And it makes it unique. Every other gun here is spool valve.
that's true.
So,
Well, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. We really hope you liked this whole 2020 guns overview. If you guys did, please let us know in the comments which picks would have been yours for the budget and for the money doesn't matter YOLO gun. Catch you on the next video. Make sure to find us on social media. Thank you for watching.